The purpose of the Risk Management and Compliance Program, hereinafter referred to as the RMCP, can be determined by exploring the following questions relating to the program. Who is required to compile a RMCP? All accountable institutions are required to adopt and implement a RMCP. The Board of Directors, senior management, or the person with the highest authority must approve. What is the RMCP? The RMCP encompasses the processes and procedures employed by the FSP and its associates to identify, assess, monitor, mitigate, and manage any risk related to money laundering and financing of terrorist activities. Why implement a RMCP? It is a requirement in terms of the FIC Act as amended to implement the RMCP. The implementation of the RMCP will also assist the FSP to ensure that it implements a compliance program based on risk. How do you implement the RMCP? It is imperative to understand the requirements in terms of the Act and the guidelines issued by the Financial Intelligence Center. Subsequently, the organization is required to draft a program to ensure that it complies with the requirements in terms of the FIC Act. Once the organization has adopted the RMCP, it must ensure that the relevant employees understand and have access to the RMCP. When is the date of implementation? The requirement to implement the RMCP in terms of Section 42 of the FIC Act came into effect on the 2nd of October 2017. However, accountable institutions have been granted some time to implement this until the 2nd of April 2019. The following are components of the process to implement a risk management and compliance program. Number 1, legislation. The accountable institution is required to understand the requirements contained in the legislation. 2, customization. The accountable institution must document policies, procedures, and internal controls to ensure it complies with the requirements. 3, implementation. The RMCP is implemented once it is approved by the Board of Directors, senior management, or the person with the highest authority in the accountable institution. 4, monitor. The accountable institution is required to monitor the organization's compliance with the Act and the RMCP. Number 5, reporting. The accountable institution may be required to report to its board on the compliance of the Act. In addition thereto, it may be required to report to the supervising body regarding its compliance with the Act. The Financial Intelligence Center was established in terms of the Financial Intelligence Center Act 2001, the FIC Act, and was amended by the Financial Intelligence Amendment Act of 2017. The FIC Act works with the Prevention of Organized Crime Act of 1998 and the Protection of Constitutional Democracy Against Terrorist and Related Activities Act of 2014. The first mentioned act aims to prevent organized crime, money laundering, and criminal gang activities, while the latter aims to prevent and combat terrorism and related activities. Furthermore, the Financial Intelligence Center publishes public compliance communications, guidance notes, and directives to provide further insight, clarification, and interpretation of various aspects of the FIC Act, and should be read in conjunction with the FIC Act. The accountable institution must develop its risk management and compliance program according to its organization's size and complexity, while adhering and complying to the following: customary due diligence, record-keeping requirements, appointment of a compliance officer, implementation of the risk management and compliance program, reporting requirements, training, and registration. Once a risk management and compliance program is developed and approved by the Board of Directors or senior management or the person with the highest authority, it is important to ensure that all relevant employees or staff have access to a copy of the RMCP, fully understand the requirements in terms of the RMCP, receive training, and sign a declaration of understanding. The compliance officer or the compliance function will be responsible, together with senior management, Board of Directors, or the person with the highest authority, to ensure compliance with the FIC Act and that the accountable institution and its staff complies with the provisions of the RMCP. The Risk Management and Compliance Program must provide for the review of the RMCP with the aim of ensuring that the provisions and the internal control procedures and policies remain relevant. The accountable institution may be required to report to its board on the compliance with the Act. In addition thereto, it may be required to report to the supervising body regarding its compliance with the Act.